From the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16, breaking news coverage.
We want to get straight to Alexis Wainwright. She's following breaking news out of Conway.
This afternoon, after the jury deliberated for about 2 hours. Now, we've been following this case after Mackrell and his cousin Robert Smith were arrested for kidnapping and murdering 72-year-old Elvia Fragstein. This happened in 2018 when Fragstein went to Target and was later found dead. The jury announced that Mackrell is guilty for capital murder, kidnapping, aggravated robbery, and theft of robbery. Now, during his testimony on Wednesday, Mackrell admitted to abducting, hitting, and putting Fragstein in a chokehold. He also said he was on drugs at the time of the crime. Now, the prosecuting attorney earlier today argued that Mackrell tried to minimize what he did to Fragstein. There was a lot of back and forth, but not much emotion for Mackrell as the verdict was announced this afternoon. Meanwhile, friends and family of Fragstein were also in the room holding hands and kind of relieved after hearing this news. Now, the judge did call for a recess, but they're expected to come back in court and continue the next phase of this case, which includes sentencing. We'll continue to update you on this story, but that's the latest. Again, he was found guilty on all charges, including capital murder. But for now, reporting live in Faulkner County, Mallory will send it back to you.
That was our Alexis Wainwright. She was following breaking news out of Conway. We have just learned a few moments ago that the suspect, Tacori Mackrell, let me show you this photo right here. He has been found guilty on all counts here in the Elvia Fragstein case, including capital murder. Mackrell and his cousin, Robert Smith, were arrested for kidnapping and murdering 72-year-old Elvia Fragstein back in 2018. We were just doing a Facebook Live on all of our digital platforms, KARK.com, Fox16.com, about an hour ago to tell you about these deliberations that were underway. We have now since learned that the jury has found Tacori Mackrell guilty in this case. You might recall Elvia Fragstein was kidnapped and from the Conway Commons shopping center back in 2018. Her body was found days later in Jefferson County near Pine Bluff. Authorities say that the suspects in the case kidnapped her from the shopping center there that you see, the Conway Commons shopping center, after she left the TJ Maxx. These surveillance photos you're seeing are the last images of Elvia alive, and then killed her. What we know from testimony on the stand from Tacori yesterday, that he admitted to strangling the elderly woman, again 71 years old, when Elvia Fragstein was disappeared and was found dead just days later in Pine Bluff. We know that Tacori has been found guilty on all counts by this jury. It is our understanding that Tacori is facing several charges, including capital murder. We know that he was also charged with kidnapping, robbery, theft of property. We are now standing by for the sentencing part of this case, which we are now waiting to for a judge and the folks involved in that process to decide what the sentencing is going to look like for Tacori. You heard Alexis just a few moments ago outside the courthouse talk a little bit about what's next, and we know that there is a recess right now that the judge has called, and so we're waiting for that recess to conclude. Alexis is likely jumping back up into the courtroom right now because that is where those decisions will be made and the announcement will be made regarding the sentencing process for Tacori Mackrell. Again, if you're just joining us here, we have just learned within the last few moments a jury has found Tacori Mackrell guilty in the Elvia Fragstein case from 2018. Elvia was kidnapped, murdered right after she was shopping at the TJ Maxx and Starbucks up there at the Conway Commons shopping center. I want to jump on Facebook here and look at some of your comments. Of course, we're all engaged in this story. Temstat saying, praying for all of the parties involved. Elaine saying murder is murder. I'm sure the evidence found he was guilty from the evidence. Keep in mind, folks, the suspect in this case, Tacori, his photo right here, he testified yesterday on the stand. He admitted in his testimony that he, in fact, strangled Elvia to death after kidnapping her from a shopping center in Conway. So this, you know, some may say that the jury, you know, deliberated a minute here because they've been deliberating now for the last hour and a half because, you know, of just the admission of guilt on the stand that the jury was listening to. So we are told that our reporter has to be back in the courtroom in just 10 minutes. And so we are now waiting for that sentencing part to happen. I invite you to go to our website, KRK.com, Fox16.com, as this story continues to develop. That sentencing process will be happening here very shortly. Our reporter has to be in the courtroom in 10 minutes, so you can imagine that this is not a very long recess and that they will decide on Tacori's fate here in the coming hour or two, as we learned today, just moments ago, that a jury has found Tacori Mackrell guilty in the Elvia Fragstein case. This has been breaking news coverage from KRK4 and Fox 16. Again, check our websites, KRK.com, Fox16.com, as we continue to follow this breaking news story out of Conway. A jury just finding moments ago Tacori Mackrell guilty on all counts. We have capital murder, kidnapping, robbery, theft of property, and we will have much more on this story here, even in our newscast right now on KRK4 News at 4. For now, I'm Mitch McCoy. We'll have breaking news as it happens all day long right here on the device that you're watching.